Oh my god.
Hi, girlies. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Bria.
How's it going?
It's good. It's the middle of April, also known as like Taylor Swift's album release holiday.
Period. That's what the middle of April is.
That's what it. I didn't see anyone talk about this, but I realized this when we posted our video for CapCut. Yesterday was when she released the album. It was National Cat Lady Day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a far cry from her association with National Snake Day.
Yeah. You're not really
I'm definitely not a Swiftie. No. I've never even really listened to Taylor Swift like that.
I would say I don't know if I'm like a category 1 Swiftie, but I feel like I loved 1989 so much. It came at like a really good time for me, like finishing college, and it was just like a fun album that I felt like I was like, okay, I do like Taylor Swift. Like I felt like it was cool to hate her before.
Yeah, definitely.
Because she was a country artist and then she was turning pop, and I feel like back then it was like, well, you're not who you say you are, you know?
I think also she's always been hated on for her associations with men.
Yeah, because all she writes about is her breakups.
Yeah, that's been her reputation that has followed her this whole time.
Yeah.
She exposes people.
I mean, she's exposed other people, not just her breakups.
I know, especially in this new album.
I know.
Or I guess in Reputation.
Baby, we got bad blood.
What was that, Katy Perry?
Yeah, and then she wrote, swish, swish, bitch.
See, I feel like Taylor Swift is the only person who you say stuff like that about. Like, oh, who's that about? That's about so-and-so.
Rappers do that.
Who?
Name them.
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
Talks about who?
Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B.
Yeah, but they're doing like diss tracks.
Well, what would this be?
Every song that Taylor Swift writes is just a diss track. Like a diss track for rappers
Not
is like every once in a while.
Not every song is a diss track.
But if you listen to her albums, I would say more songs are about people that are not.
Yeah. I mean, I think certain albums have more angst. This album. So we're talking about the Tortured Poets Department album, which, so that's what's really going on today.
That is what's really going on. What did we smoke today?
Oh, good question. What did we smoke today? We smoked the Jeter Diamond joint. I was like looking if it
I know. I was like, where is it?
To show you what it looks like, but it's a like a joint rolled in keef, and it is strong. But
if you saw our 420 episode, you know what it's like when you smoke that.
I also have a stizzy just as a backup in case we need a re-up.
Oh wow! Period.
I love my stizzy.
A stizzy, not a fizzy.
Not a fizzy, but
Don't
a stizzy.
get it twisted.
But yeah, so let's talk about the Tortured Poets Department.
As like a longtime Swiftie, would you say that this album, how would you say it ranks in comparison to the others? Because I obviously haven't heard the majority of her music.
It's interesting because I feel like this is in the category of like Evermore and Folklore, which I am not a fan of. Or I think these kind of albums, it's like you need to like sink in, dig your teeth in kind of albums. I learned a lot researching for this episode about Taylor Swift. Like I didn't know that depending on the type of album she writes, she'll write in a quill pen or an ink pen, or in a glitter pen. And like this was written in like an ink quill pen situation. But like Lover, which is do you know that album?
Yeah.
That was like written in glitter. And I think so was like 1989. Like the more upbeat, fun, lighthearted albums.
She's a method singer.
Yeah, she's a method lyricist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, this album is in that category, the like sad category.
Yeah, I can see that. More slow,
Yeah.
depressed, hurt, heartbroken.
Yeah. And I could be wrong, but like Folklore and Evermore are like her deep in COVID albums, you know, and then we get Midnights, which is like coming out of COVID. Like
that one seemed to have some fun stuff going on.
Yeah. You have Anti-Hero, Lavender Haze.
I guess Karma was about someone, but it's upbeat.
Yeah. Midnights is fun. Like, okay, we're out of COVID. Now the Tortured Poets Department, I think most of it is written while she's on tour for the Eras tour.
Oh, that recent?
Yeah. Because, so the timeline of this, and we have to talk about Joe.
Yes, we do.
Because we all thought, okay, this whole album is about Joe, but really it's about Matty Healy, which is crazy.
Crazy.
She dated him for 2 months.
And from the lyrics, it seems like he just ghosted her.
Yes, so a lot of it is in reference of how he's a child and like, you know, breaks his toys.
Period.
Or he's the smallest man. I mean, I do feel like I don't think an album has had so much diss tracks about one person. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. But like, there's 31 songs on this album.
She writes a lot more diss tracks than normal singers or rappers.
Yeah.
Which is why she's kind of known for that. Because every time she puts out an album, it's like, okay, who is she? Who is this one about?
But it's really good.
But you don't hear that about anyone else, is my point.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the timeline before we deep dive. So in 2018, she gets in a relationship with Joe, who's like an actor from England. And I think that this is really interesting to kind of like analyze the album because I think it was in 2017 or maybe it was 2018, Reputation came out. So the year prior, leading up to Reputation coming out, she is like the most hated woman on the internet, right?
Yes.
I just want to double check.
Snakegate.
Yeah, Snakegate.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we worked at Fullscreen and I managed the Recording Academy YouTube channel, and it was like right after the Grammys. It was just we had so
when
many.
She gave her album of the year speech.
We had so many comments on all the Taylor Swift videos being like snake like emojis. So many, and it's like burned into my brain because I was just like, this is bad. Like this is really bad.
So in 2017, The Life of Pablo comes out, the song comes out, and then in 2018. She comes out with Reputation,
which is the same time she gets in a relationship with Joe. So I think it's interesting, especially listening to the album and how she felt about their relationship. She's in a deep, deep, deep depression.
Yeah. She said in an interview that she was like, it was the lowest point in my entire life. I moved to a different country and stayed inside for a year.
Yeah, with him.
Crazy.
You're inside for a year. You come out. You put out Lover in 2019. So she's all in love. Everything's great. You know, she feels like she's trying to be positive. She's trying to, you know, be LGBTQ ally. Like, you know, she's talking about politics now. And then the pandemic happens.
Was Lover the you need to calm down?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the heart on the face. That's the album cover. She has a heart, sparkly heart on her face.
For sure.
Because Reputation's like so dark and moody, and then she has this like opposite thing. And I think Reputation from her Miss Americana documentary like didn't get any of the top 4 Grammy nominations.
Yes, I did watch that documentary.
Yeah, so she was really, really bitter about that, and then created Lover, and I think Lover may have been nominated or won one of those categories.
Okay, good for her.
But anyway, so then she's in a relationship with Joe for like 3-4 years during the pandemic, and then the pandemic ends, and now I feel like from what we're hearing on this album, it's like, wow, it wasn't just us being depressed. You were still depressed after all of the things that I went through about Kanye and Kim, to then going into the pandemic, to then coming out of the pandemic. You're still the same after 6 years. Because people, I feel like, are like, how are you with him for 6 years while the pandemic either broke relationships or stretched them out?
The pandemic was a very weird time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people just stayed in situations because it was the pandemic and they weren't living their normal life in their circumstances too. So it's like, obviously she wasn't touring. I'm sure she was writing stuff, obviously, but like, what else are you going to do besides stay home? And would you rather stay at home alone or with someone comfortable who you've been with for years?
Yeah, and I think they lived in England during the pandemic. So, yeah, just listening to some of the songs when she's talking about how depressed he is, you know, how he promised her this, you know, he said she was the love of his life, all these things, and then it ends. But there's speculation that, so I guess the Matty Healy and him being intertwined is interesting because.
Yeah, how does that line up?
Matty Healy and her allegedly, or I think they like briefly dated before her and Joe. I think like right before. She's like famously in a picture or in an outfit that someone got a picture of her with the 1975 shirt on.
And that's how everyone found out?
I think so. I don't know. But or they were seen out. So then she breaks up with Joe. It becomes public information like at the beginning of last year. And then she's like single for like I want to say a month, and then she starts dating Matty Healy. And so there's speculation that like her and Joe were on a break or something when she was on the Eras tour, and that she may have like rekindled her relationship with Matty Healy on this break.
But Joe never came to any of her shows, right?
I don't think so.
He never comes to anything.
No.
But Matty Healy was seen
at the shows.
At like every show during their little situation.
Yeah. And I think from the lyrics too, like I don't think Joe could handle how big of a pop star she was. It sounded like he was either jealous or something. Like
I think it's just like overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, especially for someone who's probably depressed or has a lot of anxiety. Like he was never seen with her like anywhere.
Honestly, I do not blame him for that whatsoever. Like,
but also like, what did you expect?
So much discourse.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the timeline, I guess she's not like the biggest name when they get together because she's had so much hate. Then she has Lover, but like Lover kind of bleeds into the pandemic a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like Lover is her rebuilding her name, and then during the pandemic, she's building these building blocks, and people are listening to Evermore and Folklore, and like like feeling something.
That is very interesting too, because I feel like her albums before the pandemic were very poppy, and they still are, but they are so much slower or more folky now.
She's moved from country to pop. To
pop.
Folk.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say Lana Del Rey is? Indie?
Oh, I don't even know.
Anti-pop?
Indie pop?
Indie pop?
Alternative indie pop core.
Like, people say that Billie Eilish is like anti-pop. Because she's pop, but it's like dark.
It is dark pop. Yeah. I feel like Lana Del Rey is also dark pop.
That's what I feel like Taylor Swift's moving into. Or we're seeing the end of it, I think.
Oh, we're seeing the end of it.
Well, because now she's in the love of her life relationship with Travis Kelce.
Do you think she's going to go back to being super pop?
I kind of want her to. Like, I don't know. 1989 is like a pop album.
But do you like it because it's a pop album or because you have nostalgia associated?
I think both. Like, it's a no skips album for me. It's probably, I would say, arguably like one of the best albums of our lifetime.
Wow. That's major.
I believe that. I mean, it's a no skip album to me. 1989 is my era for sure. Okay. I feel like
she kind of lost you with the folk.
No, well, with Folklore, definitely. I was like, whoa, this is a turn. This is a turn from Lover. And then with Evermore just felt like not enough songs fit on Folklore, or there was too many. And then Evermore is like a part 2. The Midnights is kind of like, okay, let me get some like feels going here, some vibes. And then
the vibes were definitely there.
Yeah. Tortured Poets feels like I'm closing the book on a chapter of my life and I'm ready to move on. Yeah.
So what are we hearing about Joe and Matty? Like, what's the tea and stuff on there?
So we've kind of covered the timeline, what's going on. Most of the songs are about Matty Healy, how he maybe breadcrumbed her a little bit, telling her all these things, that he loved her, that he wanted to be with her. And he like, I mean, it sounded like in one of the songs, like he took one of her rings and put it on her ring finger and like played with her in that way. So I can see why she is mad at him. And with Joe, she's just sad about it. It's more like a death.
Honestly, it all checks out perfectly. She has this long-term relationship that's so sad and just feels kind of like a trap for years.
Yeah.
Gets out of it, completely rebounds with like the total opposite of him, bad boy persona. I think didn't she talk about him doing drugs, like trying to get pills from her friends? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She kind of put him on blast, honestly.
One of the things that stuck out in my mind was how she said, like, you're not Dylan Thomas, I'm not Patti Smith. This ain't the Chelsea Hotel. I was like, what does that mean? But basically, Dylan Thomas was a poet or a writer that died from like a drug overdose, I think. And then Patti Smith is like still thriving and like just put out a book, I believe. And the Chelsea Hotel in New York was like famously known for where poets and like writers would stay. So I feel like it's like she's saying she doesn't want to be the kind of artists that make themselves self-destructive, like tortured natures, center to our core, which invite everyone to look at what a mess they are. That's like what he is.
He and really is living like the rock star life.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's so beyond that.
I also feel like Fortnite. Okay, so we're going to get into the songs in order. So we start with Fortnite. Fortnite, one of the lyrics is, I took the miracle move on drug. The effects were temporary and I love you. It's ruining my life. I think what that means to me is like he was kind of her like scapegoat for her relationship with Joe ending. Like kind of a rebound, but like he was more than a rebound because of what he said to her, what he did.
Right.
And she was falling in love with him, but he was super not good for her.
It seems like a situationship where she caught feelings, deep feelings, probably because of their history, but it's
And then
sad.
we go into Tortured Poets Department, which is its own song, which that song made me laugh. There was a couple songs that make me chuckle. Like when I first listened to this, you had a sneeze?
No, I was just recovering.
Okay. There was a couple songs when I was like first listening to this on my walk. Like I was like, oh my God, that's funny. Like the Charlie Puth line.
The Charlie Puth line confuses the hell out of me, honestly.
Why
did she put that in there? Is that like a plug? Did he pay for that?
No, I feel like they both felt that way. Like they were probably both high one night and they were like, Charlie Puth is like such a lyrical genius. He should be I just thought that was really funny. And then the other funny line that I can remember is like, she can do this with a broken heart. That song where it's basically about her being on tour, but like she's going through so much hardship. And she jokes about like her, I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day. I was like, oh my God. But Daddy, I love him. She's like, and I'm pregnant, but not real, or like something like that in the line. And I was like, she got jokes.
She fits a lot of words in one line, like a lot of concepts in a short space.
Some may say that's a lyrical genius.
Some may say it's a little verbose.
I mean, do you feel that way about Eminem? He's someone who does that.
Yeah, but Eminem is really interesting because he basically invented a new rhyming structure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually studied Eminem's lyrics like in a college class that I took because he straight up invented a rhyme scheme that makes perfect sense and it can be counted, but like no one had ever done it before. Not even like Shakespeare. He just like invented a new
That's really
way
cool.
of rhyming. Yeah.
The more you know. Okay, well then in the tortured poets department, she says, sometimes I wonder if you're just going to screw this up with me, but you told Lucy you kill yourself if I ever leave. And I had said that to Jack about you, so I felt seen. Everyone we know understands what it's meant to be, but we're crazy. This is a runaway railroad relationship.
It sure is. Lucy Dacus is sitting in her house somewhere just like, bitch, why'd you have to bring me in it?
Who is that?
She's from Boy Genius. And she's a friend of Maddie's and a friend of Taylor's. Wow. I believe Jack is also a friend of Maddie's as well.
Yeah, like telling your friends that he would kill himself if she left him.
He is destructive.
I can't wait to hear the 1975 response
my God.
to this. Honestly, like, what are you going to say, dude, with your typewriter? The fact that you use a typewriter, too, like, get out of here.
He's just a tortured soul.
He's a tortured soul. Oh, do you know what that comes from, though? We didn't talk about that yet.
What?
The tortured poets department, like why she named it that.
So it's from the group text that Joe has, right? But who else is in it?
I think it fits so well for this album that Matty Healy and him are like talked about, because Matty Healy is a tortured poet, sounds like.
Definitely.
Like, my God.
Paul Mescal.
Oh, that's the guy from that show. He's Irish, right?
Yes. He is in the group text as well.
It's just like, who found out about this group text and was like...
Someone snitched.
So, like, what blind item was that, honestly? That they were like, Taylor Swift knows about this group text called the Tortured Poets Department, and allegedly it was like they were talking shit about her, I think.
Or the Tortured Man Club.
Oh, is what it's called.
Yeah, it's called the Tortured Man Club. And Joe is the one who said that he was in a group text called that in 2022.
Anyway, so then we get into But Daddy, I Love Him, which is my favorite song on the album.
Is that the one where she comes for her fans?
Yeah.
I wrote it down, the line that she said. Oh, I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empath's clothing. God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want what's best for me, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see, thinking it can change the beat of my heart.
You want to unpack that one, English major?
As fuck.
She put so much in one line.
Shady there. She did. It's a lot of words in a single line. I mean, vipers dressed in empath's clothing. These fans are coming for her for who she dates under the guise that we care about you. We only want what's best for you. But bitch, I don't care what you think, because guess what? You don't know me and I don't know you, and we're never going to meet each other. So your opinion is invalid.
Yeah.
She's calling out the parasocial relationship.
Yeah.
Which is very Doja Cat of her, I feel. Bitch, you don't know me. We've never met.
Yeah, she does it in like a really lyrically advanced way. Like, if Doja Cat would write lyrics like that, be different.
Instead of just tweeting, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Swifties are picking up on that line, though, and I've seen some discourse on Reddit where people are more offended than usual, so, like, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of people are upset by that lyric, like, bitch, we are the reason why you have anything, and you have built your following on talking shit about people and us speculating and dropping hints for us and acting like we're all best friends. And now you want to throw the parasocial relationship back and be like, now it's bothering me. Now I don't know you. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, at the same time, you're giving people the juice of like, I hate him. And then you're like, yeah, we hate him. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know.
It's kind of like you're using the parasocial relationship when it's convenient for you, but sometimes it's going to backfire. And then when it does, you're like, now I hate you. You don't know me. This never happened.
Yeah, that's real. I don't know how to defend that. This is where I'm not like a big Swiftie to like come out with the guns. I'm just like,
I don't know how, I mean, I think it just kind of is what it is. Like, what she's saying is true. I think it's just the way that she's built her following and being so personal and like, we're all friends, we're all here together. It kind of just backfired a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I really like that song. I also think that song is probably about Matty Healy, but like it could also be about Travis Kelce.
Why do you say that?
Well, because I think people were at first, I think people might have been like, you're getting with him, another guy. And then like after a massive breakup, other breakup. But I feel like for the most part, people were really rooting for her with him. Like they really wanted, I've never seen so much love for her in a relationship.
Oh my God. Girlies were watching the Super Bowl for the first time.
Yeah. So, and even still, like, people were watching the Chiefs games because she was there.
Right.
And, like, they had just started dating. So I guess that was fun for them to see her in action with a guy that she was with. But he's a great guy. Like, and see, I feel like he is that guy that she should be with. She should be with someone who is her I mean, the way that he asked her out was he made a friendship bracelet, went to a concert, and put his number on the friendship bracelet. Like, you're speaking her language.
Oh, my God.
So then they went on a date after that, and then she went to his first game, and then it was like, all right, the bus has left the station kind of thing. But he is a woo girl. Like, he is out there, you know, cheering her on. And
at
like,
all her shows.
Yeah. Like, they're both just, like, larger than life people.
And we're seeing her out more.
Yeah.
Like, Joe is such a private person. I feel like you never saw him anywhere. You never saw them anywhere.
Yeah.
But now it's just fun. They're going out. They're at Coachella. They're going, like, they're in public everywhere. And it's very fun to watch.
And I think she just wants to be, like, feel as normal as possible. And I think for her, because I feel like she's like, I saw a TikTok where someone who can read lips was like reading what she was saying at Coachella. And it was like, some of it was like, oh my God, I'm so drunk. This is awesome. Or like, she was like, oh my God, that's so and so. Oh my, like getting started. Like, you watch videos of her. She is like, for a pop star, pretty fucking normal.
Yeah.
But, I feel like her life with Joe, even though it was so private, that's not, I don't think how she wants to live her life.
No, I don't think so either. I think
that doesn't
she likes
feel
being
normal.
Out and about. Yeah.
Yeah. About the smallest man who ever lived, which is, that's the biggest diss track I've ever heard. The diss track
of the frickin' century.
Honestly.
I mean,
you calling a man the smallest man who ever lived, like,
I think like the directness where she's like addressing his drug problem is very shady.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that he does it. He literally says that he does it in his music, but I don't know. I feel like that might be a little too far. Is that not like kind of
he ghosted
pushing
her.
it?
I feel like this is why she's so upset. She left Joe for good for him, and then 2 months later he left her.
Yeah.
And she was like, what the hell? Like, you said we were going to get married. You put a ring on my finger, kind of. Like, you.
Classic fuckboy behavior.
Yeah. He tricked her. And I think at this stage in her life, especially after being in a relationship with Joe, where she was like, we're going to get married, we're going to have kids. And then he's kind of saying the same shit to her, but he's acting like a fuckboy. She is just like, oh, hell no. She's acting. This is her diva moment, Bria. This is her coming into her diva shell. Before, she was like, fuck you, I hate you, meh, teardrops on my guitar. Now she's like, you're the smallest man in the world. Fuck you, goodbye.
Wow.
That's what I think. I think we might be entering a pop diva moment.
You know what? It actually is very diva of her to call out her fans and be like, you don't know me. I don't give a fuck about your opinions.
Beyonce has done that.
Yeah, that is very divalicious to me.
Yeah, she's entering it.
Maybe she is. Wow, I never thought we'd see this.
I like this for her. I like this for her. I feel like she needs a little bit more of a backbone. Stand your ground.
Yeah,
like, you're a tough bitch.
Also, like, have opinions. Like, every once in a while, it's okay to have an opinion.
Yeah, I think she was too afraid until the pandemic, and then her stance on, like, political stuff has kind of, like, kicked the door down for her. And here we are, a new era.
You know what song I want to talk about is Thank You, Amy, which is such a freaking dig to Kim Kardashian. I think it's a mix between fuck you to my high school bully and fuck you to my adulthood bully.
Well, yeah.
It's like both together.
Yeah. I mean, is it that song? No, it's Cassandra. Have you heard Cassandra?
Yeah, that's the, like, she mentions snakes in it.
Oh, she's dissing the entire Kardashian family in Cassandra.
Can you give me some examples from there?
I heard Thank You, Amy, and I was driving, so I was like, this is interesting. This sounds like a high school bully song. Mm-hmm. And then when I heard Cassandra, I was like, oh, fuck. Because I think I'd seen, like, the TikToks about Thank You, Amy. They filled my cell with snakes. I regret to say, do you believe me now? I was in my tower weaving nightmares, twisting all my smiles into snarls. They say, what doesn't kill you makes you aware, which I thought was really interesting because that's not the saying. What happens if it becomes who you are?
Ooh, that's like a Motion City soundtrack.
They
lyric.
knew, yeah. They knew. But then we get into the bridge. They knew. This is where my mouth dropped. They knew the whole time. They knew I was onto something. The family, the pure greed, the Christian chorus line. That is the face that I made. They all said nothing. Blood's thick, but nothing like a payroll. Ooh. But bet they never spared a prayer for my soul. You can mark my words. I said that first. In a morning warning, no one heard.
That is some fucking tea. And you know what? I feel like Taylor Swift is trying to open the doors for us to really investigate what the fuck is going on with the Kardashians and their tax write-off ass fake church.
What?
The Kardashians have a church. Did you know that?
No.
Kris Jenner is the part owner of a goddamn church. Kris Jenner owns a church called the California Community Church. Kim is involved too and gives 10% of her earnings to the church every year. They're funneling the money that they earn through this church. And you know why they're funneling it through the church? Because they get a tax write-off from it and the church is tax exempt.
Yeah.
So they're essentially money laundering, but legally through the church. And I think that Taylor knows that, and she's trying to get our eyes on the Kardashian Christianity of it all.
Whoa.
Conspiracy.
Well, okay, that's not what I got from this. What I got from this is they knew that she was telling the truth about the Kanye call the whole time, but they didn't defend her and threw her under the bus, and then Kanye did his thing. And then now she's like, wow, look at what you did. You married an anti-Semitic person. And you knew the whole time that he was wrong. And now look at you. And all the shit that you're going to have to clean up with your children.
T.
And I feel like the Christian chorus line is just another, like, nail in there. Because, like,
it's hypocritical.
I thought of Sunday service. Yeah. Like, you're such a Christian pure family, you go to Bible study and all that, but then you like
assist in the complete takedown of someone.
Because and double down later on.
Yeah, because to them, they will always defend their own. Like, once you are in the Kardashian family, whether it's you're one of the sisters or one of their husbands or whatever, it's like you are forever protected.
Yeah.
They have each other's backs.
Yeah. To kind of put a bow on this, there's a lot that we could go into about Joe, you know, the London song. I feel like we covered him. I feel like it's just kind of sad, sort of in there.
Hermit. guy.
The Alchemist is probably about Travis Kelce and their new relationship. I also thought there was some interesting like Easter eggs that we're seeing currently and have seen. We talked about the WhatsApp chat group. The number 2 was something that people are like, what does this mean? Number 2. She did this at the Grammys. I think that was just like a signal for the fact that like this double album came out at 2 a.m. She did the same thing with Midnights, where the Midnights album dropped and then at 3 a.m. the double album dropped. But there's more 2s that are like unsolved that people are trying to figure out. Florida is another Easter egg. That's the song with Florence and the Machine, and that was the city that she was in on the Eras tour when her and Joe broke up, or when the announcement was happened. Okay, this is interesting. There is a skirt that she's worn in 2 different colors or 3 different colors that are from Paris. She's also worn these specific shoes that are from Paris, and then there's another item of clothing that she's been wearing, and her next stop on the Eras tour is in Paris. It's coming up, like I think next month or this month, and people are thinking that she's doing that because the Eras tour is going to include the Tortured Poets department as an era.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she's signaling like there's more coming or something.
See, this is what I'm talking about, like the lyrics where you're writing about people and you have people guessing who you're writing about. The Easter eggs, people are constantly watching you to see, oh my God, she's wearing these earrings. Oh my God, she did this. Oh my God, she said these words in this order, to kind of predict what they can expect next.
She's a marketing lyricist genius to me.
No
one else ever did Easter eggs, and now people fucking do Easter eggs because of her.
She definitely set up her fans to be like super invested in her every move. Yeah.
I mean, for better or worse, I guess. But I think she thinks it's fun. It's kind of like
I can see how it's fun.
It's like Disney bounding, kind of, in a way. It's similar brain thought track of like, okay, I'm gonna dress like the Little Mermaid, but I'm gonna be subtle about it. So I'm gonna wear like a shell necklace and like dingle hopper like fork earrings and stuff like that. It's like that's like the same. It's like fun. Yeah. You're in on the, joke.
The riddle, yeah.
The riddle. And she's a riddle girl. Look at the fucking album. But I thought one of the interesting things that have happened, I just thought this was like signifying interesting, because there was a pop-up at the Grove for her album where it was like kind of like this like pop-up library, and there's all these different Easter eggs in there, and it was open before the album came out so people could start like thinking about it. Mm-hmm. But one of the things in the exhibit were like kind of like the Beauty and the Beast glass with the rose in it, and it had Cornelia's and lavender, but they were dead. What that signifies is like Cornelia Street and Lavender Haze, 2 songs that are about Joe, and their relationship is dead. Yeah. The other thing that I think is interesting for people who don't know who are Swifties is that in that same pop-up, there was a calendar, and on the calendar, it has like her birthday circled on December 13th. But her birthday is on like the day that she was born is on a Wednesday, but this year her birthday is on a Friday. And so people are speculating that she's going to release a future project on her birthday.
I just want to say, no offense, but to an outsider, this sounds fucking crazy. It's like me being like, Jenny showed up wearing a gray shirt, gray, 4 letters, for the number of like people whose bodies were found in the basement of the house where this murder happened. House, 5-letter word, 5-letter word. What color was the house? Red, 3-letter word. 5 + 3 = 8. The number of witnesses that showed up on the stand. It's like, how are we piecing all of this shit together?
I mean, I just think, like, yes, it does sound crazy, but she's doing it intentionally. Like, she came to LA on the Eras tour. The last day of the tour that she was in LA, the date was August 9th. Basically, people were like, okay, August 9th is Taylor Swift Day because it's 8/9/1989 is her birthday year. And so people were like, she's going to announce on this day that she's coming out with the Taylor's version of 1989.
Oh, yes, I do remember this.
And she fucking did. So, like, what do you want?
Do you think that she sees what people are saying and, like, has a bunch of stuff in the works and just releases projects to coincide with the theories that are already out there? Or do you think she's manufacturing the theories and starting them with
I think
her fans?
both. As someone who's worked on a Taylor Swift campaign before, she intentionally puts Easter eggs in things for people to find more than you would think.
So she puts them in there and just doesn't know if they're going to be discovered or not.
I think at this point she knows that they are. But I think in the beginning, probably the thought was like, I'm going to put Easter eggs in there. And for the fans that know, like the diehard fans, that is it's kind of like a dopamine hit. It's like you figured something out before everybody else. Fun, and you're like, this is fun. This is like unpacking a riddle. Like, I feel like I have a deeper connection with her. Yeah. And so then when you diss your fans for how invested they are, I can see as an outsider why you would think that. Like, you know, it's like you're baiting the baby with candy and then you're taking it away. But it's like, that's why I feel like I am not like a hardcore Swiftie, because I'm like, I respect her game. I don't really need to like critique her life, but I think she is like a lyrical genius. Like, I think she's a marketing lyrical genius. She took being one of the most canceled people. No one thought, including myself, she would ever come back. And then now
even after the full recording was released? Because I feel like the Swifties forgave her when Reputation came out. And then when the full phone call got leaked and everyone realized that she wasn't
after
lying.
Reputation.
Yeah, it was in 2020.
Yeah. When Reputation came out, I was like, oh my fucking God.
But the non-Swifties,
woman is a genius.
The non-Swifties, that did not like save her reputation with them, is my point. Like, the larger zeitgeist reaccepted Taylor when the full call was finally leaked and we were like, oh wait, okay, yeah, she wasn't lying.
Yeah.
But I don't think that her albums, because if you're not a Swiftie, you probably wouldn't be listening to them anyway. You only hear what you hear.
I mean, as someone who respects a marketing genius, when she released Reputation, I was like, wow, you literally took your trauma and made it your own thing.
Monetize that trauma.
You literally flipped it.
Let's make that our idea of the week. When you go through something traumatic, monetize that shit. Monetize that shit.
Yeah. She was like, you're not going to take me down. I'm not going to. And this is now the second time in her life where Kanye has tried to literally take her down. So you're not going to let him win. No.
Oh my God.
And then you have Kendrick featured on a song. Like, I'm sure that helped too.
Period.
Because, baby, we got bad blood.
I cannot believe that. Anyway, should we end with a quote?
Well, there's so many great Taylor Swift lyrics, in my opinion. I would say,
what's your fave?
My recent one that I love to say all the time is, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Honestly, period. That song was very much like, think what you want, bitch. I guess it's always going to be me for you. So it's always going to be me. I'm the problem. Whatever helps you sleep at night, bitch.
Yeah. And I think to your point of like, she always is writing about her breakups and people criticize her so much for dating so many different men. It's like, there are so many men who do that who literally never get critiqued.
John Mayer.
Yeah.
John Mayer pretending not to know who fucking Sheena was. Bitch, we know that Sheena talks a lot more than she should, but has she ever lied? whenever she says like, oh yeah, I went to a sex party and I saw so-and-so there, it's always right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We see you, John Mayer, and you've been written about too.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I will say my rating for the Tortured Poets department, I would say it's a lot. It's a lot of songs to me that are very similar.
It's like 2 hours.
It's 2 hours. I didn't really need all of that. But I think that there are really great songs in there, like But Daddy, I Love Him, and I Can Do It All With a Broken Heart. Like, those are my favorite. I think they're so, especially I Can Do It All With a Broken Heart. I can picture her putting on a smile, dancing for 3 hours straight. You know that bitch ran 6 miles every day to train for the Eras tour.
And she was singing, no?
Yeah. And she did it all while going through one of the biggest breakups of her life, followed by the biggest ghosts ever, to then getting with the love of her life, I think, truly, all while doing a massive arena tour. It's pretty impressive.
Crazy, yeah.
And she wrote this album on there. So I'd say it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay. I'm not going to judge it because I haven't listened to the whole thing. But from what I've heard, sonically, I like it. I like a lot of her music on a sonic level. Lyrically, I struggle sometimes. But to each their own.
But Lana's not.
No. And Lana curates a very specific vibe that is, I think, on another level that I think Taylor is trying to get more like Lana. I think it's very clear from the last few albums she's trying to get there.
She looked amazing on her Coachella performance.
Oh my God.
I was like, what AI is this of Lana from 10 years ago?
I'm telling you,
that's
especially
what it felt
like classic Lana.
Yeah,
is
like redhead
such a fucking
Lana
vibe. Yes.
Yeah, because I'm not really here for the last couple years, but after this Coachella performance, I was like, okay, I loved Lana in high school.
Me too.
So,
but she's not. I don't think she's verbose to quite that level, and I think a lot of her songs are more narrative focused than emotional in that sense. Like, a lot of her songs have a plot.
Yeah.
So that's what I find interesting. But you know what?
To each their own.
If that's the direction that Taylor wants to go in, I feel like she's getting there.
Yeah.
But no one can, outdo the doer. And the doer's Lana. And on that note, bye girlies.